Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraudonthetele. Today's video sees the return of one of my favorite series, Speedrunning Anime, where we cover the plots of some of my favorite shows as quickly and succinctly as possible. This episode will be covering the Legend of Vox Machina, Season 1, the animated series, based off the D&D campaign, Critical Role. As always, if you enjoyed the video and learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Click the eye above for more Legend of Vox Machina content. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Our story begins on the continent of Tal'Dorei. An unknown beast has been ravaging the land and harrying its people. Sovereign Uriel Tal'Dorei is at its wit's end, as so far every mercenary group they have sent to kill this beast has died, and they still have no idea what the creature is. The Sovereign convenes with his council. He demands he has brought the best mercenaries in all of Tal'Dorei to solve this problem. Enter our heroes, Vox Machina, who are pissed drunk at a tavern. Grog, the not-so-bright Goliath barbarian, Percy, the suave noble gunslinger, Keyleth, the nervous wreck half-elf druid, Pike, the not-so-holy cleric, the half-elf twins, Vex and Vax, and finally, Scanlan, the horny gnome. After the group are kicked out of the tavern for starting a bar fight, Scanlan discovers Uriel's notice for an adventuring party, and the group head out to the castle. Here, after some shenanigans, they're given their mission to find and potentially slay whatever is attacking the citizens. Vex gets some bad vibes from Sir Fence, and this group sets out via airship to find the creature. They come across the village with a group of children, claiming to have seen a flying beast. The group track the creature until they are suddenly attacked. Surprise, surprise, it was a blue dragon all along. Vox Machina give it a good effort, but are ultimately defeated by this dragon. It buries them under a pile of boulders and presumes they are dead. Our heroes, narrowly escaping death, decide, fuck this, the quest is not worth it, and they decide they'll never return to the city again. However, after returning to the village they visited earlier, the group have a change of heart when they see the destruction that has become, vowing to slay this dragon or die trying. The dragon continues to harry Tal'Dorei as it has destroyed a large unit of Emon's military. Vox Machina return to Uriel and his council, informing them that this creature is a dragon. Vex again feels a sharp pain in her mind. This is one of her ranger abilities, Primeval Awareness, which allows her to sense the presence of dragons. Vex and Vax's village was destroyed by a red dragon when they were children, along with their mother, so Vex has studied dragons ever since. The group decide to split up, one half tailing Sir Fence as they suspect him of working with the dragon, and the other heading to the magical item shops, Gilmore's Glorious Goods, to find something to help them. The hilarious duo of Scanlan and Grog manage to follow Sir Fence into a large mansion. The group reassembles, breaking into the mansion that they discover is owned by General Krieg, one of the council members, and voiced by David Tennant, by the way. Vax finds a hidden door to the cellar. The group head down, finding Sir Fence snooping around. As they're about to question him, a sword suddenly emerges from his chest. General Krieg appears behind him, stabbing him in the back. Vex realizes Krieg is the one who is working with the dragon, and they dash off after him. Krieg has mysteriously vanished until the party discovers a painting within his study is actually a portal to a cave containing enormous amounts of wealth. This is the dragon's lair. As the group realize this, Keyleth walks up to an old large stone containing 4 glass ovals. The ovals open like eyes, and a voice echoes intruders. Krieg appears, giving us the first big plot reveal. Ta-da, he was the dragon all along. The group do their best to fight against the dragon, but struggle to hurt it as he remains high in the air. Side note, these fight scenes are amazingly animated, please go and watch them. Vox Machina, through a bit of trickery and illusion magic, managed to ground the dragon, killing him. Sovereign Uriel rewards them with the keys to a castle outside the city, declaring them protectors of the realm and honorary members of the Council of Tal'Dorei. Some time passes, the audience is given more info into some of the backstory of our characters, namely Percy DeRollo. Percy was the middle son of a noble family who lorded over a town called Whitestone. One day when Percy was a young man, a couple called the Briarwoods wormed their way into the city with an army, enacting a coup, naming themselves as Lord and Lady, killing Percy's family in the process. Percy believes he is the only one of his family to survive. Vox Machina are later invited to attend a banquet in Uriel's castle. While there, Percy is mortified to learn the announcement that Lord and Lady Briarwood of Whitestone have arrived at the event. Percy informs the rest of his group what's going on. Vax, the sneaky rogue, decides during the dinner to break into their room and try to find some information. The dinner continues very awkwardly as Percy tries not to lose his cool. Lord and Lady Briarwood are more than meet the eye, as Silas Briarwood subtly influences Uriel with some sort of magic. Vax has broken into their room and has found some sort of strange spell book when suddenly the fireplace flashes and the Lord and Lady are there with him. Vax tries to run but is stopped by Silas, who puts him under his charming gaze. We are then treated to another very fun reveal as Silas, having Vax charms, bite into his neck, revealing he is in fact a vampire. Vax, in a moment of panic, jumps out the window, falling several floors to the courtyard below. As it looks like Vax is doomed, he mutters the code word Jenga, signaling his allies he is in trouble. Vox Machina rush to his aid and a battle ensues. Lady Briarwood, an accomplished wizard with her vampire husband, are a tough fight, as Vox Machina barely manage to handle their own. The Briarwoods manage to escape with their carriage, leaving behind their innocent driver. Percy, in a rage, puts on his gas mask as a strange black smoke begins to erupt from his body. Horrified, the rest of the party watch on as Percy shoots this innocent man's fingers off. Vox Machina are arrested for supposedly attacking innocent guests. Remember, Uriel is still influenced by Lord Briarwood. Vox Machina tells the council's most powerful lizard and Laura this is the case, but they are still to be kept under house arrest. As Vox Machina waits in their castle, Percy informs the rest of the group more details on the Briarwoods and how they captured his city. While they wait, Lady Briarwood has used her necromantic magic to send a group of wraiths to attack Vox Machina's castle. Here the group have a bloody encounter with these wraiths as they kill many of the guards that were sent to watch Vox Machina. The party struggle to harm the wraiths as they are corporeal, most weapons passing right through them. Keyleth, a character whose obvious lack of self-confidence hinders her abilities, finally gets a little bit of character growth as in a life or death situation, she casts the spell Sunbeam, a spell that she struggled with, evaporating the wraiths and allowing for the rest of the party to destroy them. The party then decide to head out to Whitestone to stop the Briarwood, while Pike, the gnome cleric, stays behind, believing her connection with her goddess to be broken by Lady Briarwood. Before heading out of the town, the party stop by Gilmore's again to pick up supplies. FYI, there's a ton of Easter eggs in this show to the D&D campaign it was based off of, and just D&D in general, so click the eye above to check out our Easter egg videos. We got some more Vax and Keyleth love teasers. There's been a steady and subtle since episode 1, and they don't intend on stopping anytime soon. On the ride to Whitestone, Scanlan pores over Lady Briarwood's book, but only manages to decipher a bit of information relating to a ziggurat, a large ancient structure used to contact gods. As the group enters Whitestone territory, the land begins to turn dark, creatures lurk in the shadows, and an ever-present fog surrounds them. In the forest, the group are attacked by some undead creatures, which were sent by Lady Briarwood to retrieve her book. Creatures are successful and manage to destroy Vox Machina's cart and horses in the process. Rip horses, man. The group managed to enter the city. Much of it lies in ruin, and the townfolk are afraid to walk the streets. The large tree that sits in the middle of the city, known as the Sun Tree, is leafless and withering away. They make their way further into the city when the party are horrified as they see a group of people and children have been killed and then dressed as Vox Machina and hung from the tree as a message to them. Within the city of Whitestone exists a small resistance force fighting the Briarwoods. One of Percy's childhood friends, Archie, has assumed control of this resistance group. Unfortunately for the resistance members, they're attacked by a horde of undead giants, revived and controlled by Lady Briarwood. They then take Archie hostage. Vox Machina learns of this resistance, and Percy and the Knights meets with one of his old mentors, a holy woman named Keeper Yenin, who guides the common people. She takes them to a hidden safe house where they begin to conduct a plan. Meanwhile, Pike has gone to a temple to help rekindle her relationship with her goddess. Archie is being tortured for information by two of the Briarwood's goons, Sir Stonefell and the Duke. Vox Machina and the Resistance discover Archie is being held in the barracks prison. Percy shows off one of his newest inventions, Bad News, a heavy-duty rifle with an awesome magnifying glass-esque scope. Percy is the inventor of firearms in this world, as the inspiration for the design came to him one day after he had escaped the Briarwoods, and with these weapons he seeks revenge. Vox Machina splits into two teams, front door, back door. Back door team struggles to get through a locked door, while the front door team battles their way through the prison. Eventually, though, the two groups reunite inside, rescuing Archie. They manage to battle their way out of the barracks through soldiers and Sir Stonefell, but Percy, wanting his revenge, turns back. He finds Stonefell alone, and in the first of one of many amazing Percy scenes, wipes out the first of many names from his list of revenge. It seems Percy and his weapon are more than meet the eye, as we see him yet again billow smoke from his body, his eyes even turning red. Episode 6 ends as Percy is informed that he is not the only surviving Dorolo. His sister does in fact live. Angry with Percy for putting the group at risk, Vax demands answers. Percy explains how the Briarwoods tortured him and his sister, and how he managed to escape, and thus how the inspiration for his weapon came to him. Amazing animation sequence here, just by the way. Mwah! The group decide to attack the top goons of the Briarwoods who reside in the noble houses of Whitestones. With this, they hope to ignite the spark of revolution and rally the entire city. In addition, Archie's scouts report that Cassandra, Percy's sister, is being held in the house controlled by Percy's old teacher, Professor Anders. Again, the party splits up, sending Scanlan on a solo mission to the Duke's house, which is supposed to set on fire as a distraction, so the main force can attack Professor Anders' house. Scanlan, through a hilarious series of events, managed to set the house ablaze through a variety of shenanigans. He narrowly avoids death at the hands of the Duke. Fire is the signal for the rest of Vox Machina to attack the Professor's house. Unfortunately, the Professor had troops waiting. The party engages in battle with the guards as Percy chases Anders through the house. He comes upon Anders holding a knife to his sister Cassandra's neck, and in a horrible moment, he cuts her throat. Percy can only watch on as his sister lies there gasping for air. Enraged, Percy attacks Anders as he watched the last of his family have her throat cut. Anders uses his magic to animate multiple sets of armor as the rest of Vox Machina have arrived to aid Percy. Keyleth manages to save Cassandra with her magic. The tide of battle seems to be going Vox Machina's way until Anders uses his magic to mind control Grog, forcing him to attack his friends. Things are looking bad for Percy, as Anders has managed to mind control all of his allies, but in a 300 IQ 5-head play, Percy ricochets a bullet, blowing Anders' jaw off. Then, in one of the darkest moments of the season, Percy walks up to Anders, executing his former teacher, another name off the list. Lady Briarwood, angered by these events, summons a massive horde of undead to stop Vox Machina. Back in Amon, Pike has managed to reconnect with her goddess, the Everlight, as she realized Lady Briarwood didn't disconnect her from her goddess, but she herself did with many of the actions that she had took. The beginning of episode 9 gives us the backstory on Silas and Delilah. Both Lord and Lady in a foreign land, Silas was dying from an unknown illness which couldn't be treated. Delilah, refusing to let her husband die, is led by a strange whisper to an old secluding building containing hidden arcane knowledge. Here she learned the rite of vampirism and brought her husband back to life as a vampire. Back in the present, VM is chased through the city by a never-ending horde of undead. Every time they seem to find a moment of reprieve, more undead descend upon them. In the madness, one takes a chunk out of Scanlan's arm, causing it to begin to rot and decay. The group battle through the city, Keatleth even going full Storm from X-Men, summoning an ice storm, destroying a huge numbers of undead. Finally, they make it to the base of the Sun Tree, where the party and the remaining Resistance members make their final stand against the Duke and his undead army. Things are beginning to look grim until Pike in a glaze of holy glory appears in the battlefield, using her holy magic to destroy the undead and heal Scanlan. Her goddess's powers having allowed her to astral project to Whitestone and aid her friends. With Pike's magic, the party managed to beat back the undead and buy enough time to enter the castle through a secret tunnel that leads to the dungeons. In the dungeons, Percy comes across another familiar face, Dr. Anna Ripley, the scientist who aided the Briarwoods in their conquering of Whitestone and who personally tortured Percy, who conveniently also resides on Percy's list. Pike, worried about Percy and his ever-present smoke monsterness, lays her hands on him, looking deep into his soul. There she sees he is consumed by some sort of black smoke and fire monster. This is Orthax, a shadow demon who made a pact of vengeance with Percy, granting him the knowledge to construct the first firearms in order to extract his revenge. But importantly, none of the group know this yet. Ripley manages to bargain for her life in exchange for leading Vox Machina to the ziggurat the Briarwoods have been destructing. They go deep underground. Here, Whitestone refines the stone in which the city is named after into a glass-like material called residuum that has the ability to enhance spellcasting. Suddenly, Percy's pistol begins to blow. The sixth barrel, which has been left nameless until now, suddenly etches the name Cassandra Zorolo into it. Cassandra suddenly flips a switch, locking Vox Machina into this refinery room, as Lord and Lady Briarwood appear at her side. Vax managed to make it through the door to Cassandra before it locked, but is quickly overpowered and charmed by Lord Briarwood. Cassandra, it seems, was under Lord Briarwood's control all along. The Lord and Lady flip another switch, causing the room to begin to fill with acid. The party act quickly, finding 3 levers, which must all be pulled simultaneously. One small problem, one of these levers resides 10 feet under a pool of acid. Not a problem for our Goliath friend, though, who dives down while constantly being healed by Pike, and the group managed to narrowly avoid certain death. Lord and Lady Briarwood have made their way to the ziggurat, where Delilah begins her incantation. Scanlan, finally connecting some of the dots, realizes the book was in fact an instruction manual on how to resurrect Vecna, the Whispered One. Vecna is the entity that made the pact with Lady Briarwood, a human who rose to godhood. Vecna yearns to return back to the mortal plane of existence, and it seems the Briarwoods are down to make that happen. Percy, consumed by the demon inside him, charges the Briarwoods, and an all-out fight ensues. I said this in my review of The Legend of Vox Machina, click the eye above for that, but this show has some of the best animated scenes and fight scenes of almost any animated show I've ever seen. I highly recommend watching these fight scenes back in a slower speed to really appreciate all the detail. The Briarwoods have Vox Machina on the ropes as Vax, still mind control, fights his sister, while Delilah's magic and Silas' brute strength overwhelm the others. Keyleth, in a moment of desperation, reaches out to the Sun Tree they currently reside under. She channels the power of the tree to make a massive plume of light. This buys time for Vex to snap Vax out of the spell and for Grog to grab Silas. Like a scene straight out of Dragon Ball Z, Grog holds Silas while Keyleth channels her fully powered sunbeam, incinerating the vampire in the light. Delilah, mortified by the death of her husband, rushes off, attempting to finish the spell to summon Vecna. Vox Machina enter trying to stop her. Delilah lets out a nasty spell, Finger of Death, aimed right at Vex, but Keyleth steps in front just in time, catching the spell, mortally wounding her. Delilah's incantation is finished, and just as it seems it's working, Vecna's form appearing for a brief instant, it then vanishes, leaving behind a small spinning orb. Pike rushes to heal Keyleth, but her form disappears, as the spinning orb negates all magic near it. Vax, remembering how Keyleth had cured Cassandra, managed to replicate it for Keyleth, saving her from the brink of death. Percy, however, has become fully consumed by revenge and looks to finish off Lady Briarwood, the smoke coalescing around him. Percy has been fully taken over by this demon, who shows Percy fake visions, forcing him to fight his allies. I know we're speedrunning, but let's just take a quick second and admire this insane art. Okay, awesome. Percy, fueled by revenge and the power of the demon, overpowers his friends and looks to finally finish Delilah off. However, he managed to overcome his anger, shooting himself in the hand, causing the demon to disappear. Cassandra thankfully does all of us a favor and finishes off Lady Briarwood for us. As they leave the ziggurat, Scanlan steals Percy's gun, tossing it into the acid. Percy is angered until the last puff of smoke erupts from the acid, finishing off Orthax. Well, for now. The party returned to Emon, having liberated Whitestone and cleared their name at home. Cassandra was left in charge to rebuild the city. It seems Percy has finally come to peace with his inner demons. The season ends as Vox Machina attend an announcement from Sovereign Uriel in the city. From this day forth, Taldaria would no longer be known as an empire. Uriel has decided to abdicate his throne, creating the Republic of Taldore. Suddenly, Vex's head is racked with pain. Warning bells ring off in the distance. In the sky, 4 large dragons of different colors, known as the Chroma Conclave, barrel down on a Mon with bad intentions and time. So how did I do? Not too bad, eh? Obviously, we couldn't go over every little detail in reference. For that, check out my individual episode breakdowns, as well as our Legend versus the Campaign series, where I break down specific scenes from the animated show in comparison with the D&D story they come from. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching my video, and to all of our new subscribers, thank you as well. I'm really excited for Vox Machina Season 2. It can't come out quick enough. More Legend of Vox Machina content coming in the future. Click one of the videos on screen now, and as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace, love, adieu.